everybody! Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different than what you're used to seeing on Wednesdays. I want to do the D&D tag that a cosplayer and YouTuber by the name of Ginny D created. She posted her video of it about 2 months ago, so I'll go ahead and link her video down below, and I'll also link her Google Doc with all of the questions that I'll be answering down there as well. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I am a bit of a fan of D&D. I haven't been playing for super long, maybe 3.5 years or so at this point. So I don't have the most experience, but I do love playing, and I'll try to answer these questions the best that I can. Alright, so the first one is, what was your first D&D character? My first D&D character was, shockingly and not originally, a elven ranger. Her name was Kaylin. She also looked a lot like me. She was blonde, about the same height, about the same age. Honestly, she had a really generic story for why she was adventuring. Of course, her parents were killed when she was young, and she was raised by her mentor who taught her how to hunt and whatnot, and he disappeared one day, so she left to go find him. That's honestly a very generic first character, but I had a good time playing her, and I still to this day like playing rangers, so. Okay, the next question is, which D&D class is your least favorite to play or do you not want to play? Honestly, I think the D&D class that I have the least interest in playing is the barbarian. I feel like when I sit down to make a character, I just don't think of the barbarian really, and even if I try to create a barbarian, I feel like that's a class that I have the hardest time coming up with a backstory for. I'm not sure why. I also really like playing dex-based characters, or magic users, one or the other, maybe both, but I'm a lot more drawn towards agile characters than tanky characters. So, I don't know, the barbarian just seems the least interesting to me. No hate towards the barbarian, like the class you want to like. These are just my opinions, but that's the one that I have the least amount of interest in, I think. Alright, the third question is, what D&D spell would you most want to have in real life? I don't think that my answer to this is going to be particularly unique or out of the box. It's prestidigitation. It's just so versatile, and assuming magic in the real world would act similar to magic in D&D, I feel like I would want to pick a cantrip to have in real life because I would be able to use it most often. Yeah, so I think that prestidigitation would do it. I really like having candles, and being able to just light them without needing a lighter or anything like that would be very cool. I also have a big sweet tooth, but I've been trying to eat healthier, so being able to make healthy food taste like sweet food would be pretty cool, because don't get me wrong, I eat all my vegetables, I like my vegetables, but I do have a sweet tooth, so being able to make anything taste sweet that'd be pretty cool. Oh, and you would never have to do laundry. You could wear something, prestidigitize it, and then just put it back in your closet to make it clean. There would be no laundry to do. That would be pretty cool. I think that one would just have a big impact on like making day-to-day things better. Alright, number 4 is, what is your favorite D&D monster? Okay, well, I really like both using as a DM, I've done some DMing and some playing. I really like both using and fighting against monsters that I think are kind of creepy. So, and I've also run a Halloween one-shot for 2 different groups of friends that I used an Oni for, and I really enjoyed that. I sort of vamped it up to be a little bit more of a challenge. So I changed some stuff in its stat block and used it a little differently than just like a troll, because its type in the monster manual is a giant, but I used it more as like a summoned demon kind of thing. But I really had a lot of fun with that, and I was able to make it super creepy. Plus there's this child's poem in the monster manual that just, it's so easy to just throw a little note in there for your characters to find. That'll creep them out. And then they'll know what they're up against, but it's still kind of scary. Anyways, I really like using the Oni. That's my favorite kind of like boss that I've used while DMing, and I had a lot of fun with it. So I'm gonna have to go with the Oni on this one. All right, next up is, what's your favorite NPC or villain that you've encountered or created? Okay, so on the D&D stream that I play on, I'll link both the Twitch channel for that and the YouTube re-upload channel down there. But in playing that game, we did a one-shot where I played a ranger, and we were looking for, well, our quest started with us looking for a girl's missing cat. And of course it wasn't just a cat that we were looking for, but when we were going to look for the cat, I as the ranger went and spoke to some other neighborhood cats, and just the way that my DM played them was very fun, and honestly everybody at the table had a good time with it. And each of the cats had a really distinct personality. I think I talked to 3 of them, but it was just really fun, and I think that kind of silly NPCs like that are just really fun to encounter and break up a game. So I thought that was really fun. So I'm gonna have to go with those cats. All right, the next one is just if you've ever had a character die and what killed them. I haven't had a character die, so I don't really have a good answer for that, so we'll just go on to the next one. All right, next up is, what is your best natural 20 story? So my best natural 20 story is actually a natural 20 that followed a natural 1. So to give you kind of the overview of what was going on, we were in a town and the mayor had sent us out to find some people in the town that had left and not come back. So we found them and they were all killed, but when we found them, we also saw the mayor killed with them. So we kind of put 2 and 2 together and realized that the mayor that we had just talked to and had sent us out here was actually a doppelganger that was pretending to be the mayor. Now when we found the actual mayor, he still had his wedding ring on. So we were using these clues to try to get the doppelganger mayor to admit that he wasn't actually the mayor and to kind of poke holes in his story. We went back to the town hall and my character was sitting across the table from the mayor's son, who was sitting next to the doppelganger. So I asked the doppelganger mayor if there were any important items that he had lost when this attack happened, knowing that this doppelganger mayor didn't have his wedding ring because the actual mayor had the wedding ring on. And so I asked him if anything had gone missing, and he said no. His son was gonna say, oh, but what about your wedding ring? And as he started to say that, my character reached under the table and kicked him to kind of get him to not say anything, right? But I rolled a natural 1 for this attack, so instead of kicking him in like the shin or the knee or the ankle, I kicked him in a location that hurt a lot worse than that. Then immediately after that, I rolled a natural 20 perception check to see that the doppelganger also kind of flinched when I kicked him. So I was able to figure out that the doppelganger was reading the mayor's son's mind, and that's how he kind of knew what was going on in the town. Anyways, it was a very funny situation of rolling a natural 1 and having things go really badly, just to immediately roll a natural 20 and still get some good out of it. Which brings us to our next question, which is, what's your best natural 1 story? Now my best natural 1 story is not actually a natural 1 that I rolled, but a roll that my friend Matt rolled during our game that is of course streamed, linked down below. So our party had gone through this portal into the first layer of hell, and we were fighting a Baylor, I think is the one. We were fighting a Baylor, and so we defeated the creature enough that it flew away, and then, but the portal had closed behind us due to some other things that we had done. But Matt, who was playing our wizard named Locke, had a scroll that would help us, we could teleport from hell, like back onto the material plane. But we're only level 9, and this is a 9th level spell that he had a scroll for, so of course he's gonna have to roll to be able to use it correctly. So through some other spells that we used, he had advantage on this roll. He was also blessed, so he got an extra d4. And with advantage, he rolled 2 natural ones, stranding us in hell with no way to get back. Yeah, that was interesting. And if you want to see how it turned out, link in description. All right, what's the highest level you've ever played a character to? So currently the human sorcerer that I'm playing in our legendary action campaign is level 9. So that's the highest level I've played besides one-shots. I've played in a kind of like battle royale one-shot where I think we were level like 15 or so. But this is the highest level that I've actually played a character in a campaign. All right, next is, what's your favorite magical item? I'm going to have to say that I think my favorite magical item, due to just how versatile it is the immovable rod. I think there are just so many creative ways that you can use this, and I love magical items that make you kind of think outside the box and actually have to problem solve. I think those are a lot of fun. So I think the immovable rod is my very favorite item. It's just so versatile. If you had an IRL alignment, what would it be? So when I play D&D and many like RPG video games and stuff, I like to play sort of chaotic good. But in real life, let's face it, I'm lawful good. I stop at stop signs when there's nobody there to see me. I follow the rules. I was a good student, followed all the rules, didn't get in trouble in school. I'm lawful good. Okay, so this might be cheating, but I'm gonna answer the next 2 questions with the same answer. So the 2 questions are, if you had to date one of your characters, which one would you pick? And is there a character you want to play but haven't had a chance yet? I know I haven't played it yet, but I'm gonna use it as my answer for which character I would date anyways. I really want to play a tiefling bard as kind of a sailor, like a kind of happy-go-lucky, it's just kind of the life of the party. I played a bard for a little bit during a one-shot at some point, but I would really like to play one longer term. And I also think that that's the character I would most want to date of the characters I've made, because I think that she would be very outgoing and just fun to be around. I also really admire people with musical talent because I have none. So I think that would be my answer for both of those questions. Next question is, are you a dice goblin or a dice minimalist? I am definitely a dice goblin. I have this bag of dice. I love them. I think this bag is not full. I'm still working on it. I think I have 12 full sets of dice in here. I will go ahead and include a shot of this bag right here so you guys can see all the dice that are in it. But yes, I am definitely a dice goblin. I like having lots of different dice to choose from. I like being able to put one of my dice in dice jail if it's not rolling well and I can pick a different one. So I tend to use a different like D20 every night depending on which one seems to be working best for me. Even though I know that that's not a thing, it's still a thing. So that's how I do it. All right, the last question on here is, what rule or mechanic have you never quite wrapped your brain around? So I think that at this point I've wrapped my brain around this rule and I understand how it works, but it did take me a long time to figure out how 2-weapon fighting worked. I think the rules as written are just really confusing. It was also confusing that some classes had like a fighting style that used it, there were feats that used it, so I didn't know if you had to have that fighting style or a feat to use it. Also, rules as written, you can't use your fist to attack with a bonus action. You have to use a light weapon. So like monks, for example, can use their monk weapons and they can fight with both hands, right? But if you were not a monk, you wouldn't be able to punch with one hand and then punch with your other fist as a bonus action. You wouldn't be able to stab with a dagger and then punch with your offhand as a weapon attack. you can only do 2 weapon fighting if you have 2 light weapons. So you can stab with daggers, but you can't stab punch or punch. I don't know. I thought it was very strange. I get it now. That's probably the rule that took me the longest to wrap my head around though. It has gotten dark since we started doing this video. Alright, that was the D&D tag that was created by Ginny D about 2 months ago. Again, I'll link her video down below. And I'll link the Google Doc with all the questions so that you guys can take a look at them. I hope you guys like this video, and I'm going to be uploading videos like this every single Wednesday, so go ahead and subscribe if you want to keep seeing these. I'm also posting gameplay videos on Monday and Friday. Currently I'm doing a playthrough of Stardew Valley, so stay tuned if you want to look at those playthroughs. I think my first one should have been uploaded 2 days ago, another one will be uploaded in another 2 days. So I hope you guys like that as well. Go ahead and comment on this video if you want to chat with me or if you have a suggestion for a future video. Also like this video, you know, helps this tiny creator get bumped up in the algorithm just a little bit. Alright, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!